All right, it's time. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stretch Break. My name's Amber Langford. Thanks for joining. We are going to be using a chair for the stretch break, so if you haven't already, and if you're just joining, now's the time to go and grab your chair. I recommend a stationary one. If you have your office chair and you can lock those wheels, I would also recommend locking those wheels so you don't roll away. We're going to begin in a seated position, so go ahead and have a seat in your chair. We're going to start with our lower body first, with those feet to start. So we're going to sit up nice and tall. Our hands are just going to be relaxed, either on our lap or down at our sides. We're going to start with our right foot first, and we're going to begin by lifting up our heel off the ground, pressing the bottom of our toes into the ground. We're going to slide our toes back, still maintaining that pressure on the ground, pressing that ankle forward, keeping that heel lifted. We're stretching the bottom of our foot here, working on that toe extension. The farther we slide our foot back underneath that chair, the more extension we have in those toes and the more of a stretch you're going to feel. We're just going to hold this for a few more breaths, making sure we're inhaling through our nose and exhaling through our mouth. Good. Keeping that right heel lifted, we're going to roll our toes. So now the tops of our toes are pressing down into the ground, actively pressing that ankle forward, trying to make a straight line from your kneecap all the way down to those toes. We're now stretching out that front of the ankle as well as up into that shin area. We can also focus on our posture here as well, making sure we're sitting in that nice straight line, stacking our head over our shoulders and our shoulders right over our hips. Let's do one more breath here. And relaxing that right foot, placing it flat on the ground, switching to that left side, beginning by lifting our left heel off the ground, and then sliding our foot back until we feel a nice stretch down the back of our foot, pressing the bottom of our toes into the ground, as well as pressing that ankle forward, working on that toe extension here. One more breath, and rolling those toes over. So now the tops of our toes are pressing down to the ground. That ankle presses forward, switching that stretch to the front of your ankle into your shin. Sitting up nice and tall, let's do one more breath. And relaxing out of that, flattening both feet. Switching, we're going to be doing a hamstring stretch next. Beginning with that right leg, we're going to straighten just our right leg out directly in front of us, flexing those toes back, pulling those toes back towards our shin. Keeping that right leg nice and straight, we're going to reach our hands down towards the ground, reaching for that foot. If you need to, you can keep light pressure right above that knee, just as a reminder to keep your legs straight. You can also rest and brace your hands anywhere on that right leg. The goal is to try to get closer to the ground with each exhale. Feel free to relax your neck as well, letting your head hang down towards the ground. One last breath. And walking those hands back up, lifting our chest, switching sides, left leg straightens out in front of us, flexing those toes back to your shin, and then reaching those hands down your leg, reaching for the ground, reaching for that foot. Taking those nice deep breaths, inhaling through your nose, and then exhaling out through your mouth. Feeling your body relax into that stretch with each exhale. Sinking closer to the ground. One last breath. And walking those hands back up, sitting up nice and tall. Bring both feet in so our feet are flat, knees are bent. We're going to switch and stretch our inner thighs next. For this inner thigh stretch, I have a few different variations depending on what your chair looks like. You may have to adjust. If your chair looks like mine and you do not have any armrest, you're going to scoot over to the right side of your chair. From this position, we're going to swing our right leg out into a straddle position. I want your hips to still be facing forward. You can keep your knee bent and that foot flat, or straighten out that leg, bringing those toes up towards the ceiling. Your choice. If you have an armrest, you're going to twist your body over towards the left, and then from there, you're going to swing that right leg out into that straddle position, keeping that leg bent, or straightening that leg out, flexing those toes back up towards the ceiling. I want you to be able to feel a nice stretch to those inner thighs. So this could be where we're sitting up nice and tall, pressing outward on that inside of your knee, opening up that hip. If you feel more of a stretch with that leg straight, feel free to move to that straightened position. I feel a little bit more of a stretch with my knee bent, so I'm going to keep my leg bent here. And then reaching our hands down to the ground. Trying to lower your chest towards your opposite thigh. You're reaching those hands to the ground. Same thing here, playing around with it. Maybe you feel more of that stretch in this position with your legs straight. You can also brace your hands on those thighs and then sink that chest lower. And lifting your chest upright. We're going to add a lat stretch to this. So our right hand stays down at our side. Left arm reaches up and over the top. Reaching that right hand down towards the ground. Left arm reaches up and over to the right. One last breath. Inhale and exhale, lowering that left arm down, bringing both legs in. We're going to slide over to the left and do the same thing on the left side. Remember, if you have that armrest, you're going to bring both legs over to that right corner first, and then open up that left leg into that straddled position. Starting sitting up nice and tall, outwardly pressing on the inside of our knee, opening up those hips. We're just going to hold here for a few breaths. One last breath. Bracing those hands on those thighs, we're going to lower our chest down towards the ground, keeping that leg bent. Or if you prefer, you can straighten out that leg and reach both hands down towards the ground. One more breath here. And then lifting that chest back upright, adding our lat stretch. Right hand reaches up and over the top. Left hand reaches down towards the ground. Opening up our side body, opening up that rib cage on the right side. Taking nice deep breaths. Sinking into that stretch with each exhale. One more inhale. And exhale, bringing that right arm down and swinging both legs back in towards the center. For our next stretch, we're going to have our feet flat on the ground, legs bent. I'm going to turn to the side just so you can get my side view for this one. We are going to be doing a seated cat-cow stretch. So for this one, we're going to lean forward slightly, bracing our hands right above our kneecaps on our thighs. We're going to round, tucking our chin to our chest, tucking that tailbone under, getting as rounded as possible in our cat position before we drop that chest, lifting our chin up, lifting that tailbone up, moving to our cow position, extending through our spine, and repeat. Moving from our rounded position back to that extended position. We're going to do 4 in each direction, trying to get a little bit more range of motion each time, making sure we're tucking that tailbone under as well before we drop that chest and lift our chin up. Last one in each position. And relaxing out of that, going back to that neutral spine for sitting back up nice and tall. From here, we're going to lace those fingers together in front of our body. We're going to reach our hands out in front, reaching out as far as we can. We're going to lift those hands all the way up towards the ceiling. One last big reach, getting as tall as possible before bending both elbows, pulling your hands back behind your head. We're trying to pull that right arm over towards the left. We're going to hold here for a few breaths. And straightening both hands back up towards the ceiling, reaching tall and resetting before bending both elbows once again, this time pulling that left arm back and over towards the right. One more deep breath. Straightening your elbows out one last time, reaching up tall to the ceiling. Once you've reached up as far as you can, you're going to release your fingers and bring your hands back down to your side. We're going to end with a few shoulder squeezes, opening up that chest, getting those shoulders working and relaxing a little bit. Your hands are going to be down at your sides. We're going to start by pulling our shoulders back, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Once you've reached as far as you can, you're going to relax and then round those shoulders forward, pulling your shoulders as far forward as possible. And then repeat. Exhale, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Inhale at the end of range of motion. And then exhale, rounding your shoulders forward. You should feel your shoulder blades pulling apart in this position. Let's do one more. Shoulder blades pull together, opening up that chest. Inhale. And then exhale, rounding one last time, pulling those shoulder blades apart, pulling those shoulders forward. And then relaxing out of that. Feel free to do a few shakes, a few wiggles. And that is all of the stretching I have for you all today. Thank you so much for joining this stretch break. My name is Amber Lankford. Hope you guys feel a little bit less tension and you're ready to get right back into your day. Have a great rest of your day.